Here's HE&M Sol's Project Hudson Hornet.
All right, Doug, looks like I need a 5/8 and a 9/16.
You know, it's absolutely amazing. This car is 65 years old, and the condition, this trimming and the chrome is absolutely unbelievable. I'm 64, and it's 65, and I think it's in better shape than I am. Yeah, it was stored in my father's barn. He had it there for many years.
What did it look like when you guys pulled it out?
Well, you know, it took quite a while to get everything away from it. You saw the amount of mud daubers nest. It just had mud daubers, mice living it, you know, everything under the sun. But, you know, it was out of the weather, and I think that's what made the huge difference for us.
Absolutely.
Here on Sam's Garage, we have the long-awaited Hudson Hornet project back and ready to be restored.
Man, do we have something exciting for you guys today? We got our Project Hudson Hornet, HE&M saw. Doug Harris is here. If you remember on season 4, we took this thing apart completely, and your dad, Jerry, actually gave you this car, and he was on set with us.
Yeah, he did.
And we took this thing apart, and over the summer, we gave all the different components to people, like as in the body shop, the interior, the engine guy, the transmission guy, had it all rebuilt, and here we are now getting ready to reassemble this car. And we're gonna start with the engine. And this is something new to me. It's got carburetors, but it's also got a reverse polarity 6-volt system, which is positive ground. This is totally backwards than what we're used to today. So I had to get my mind around it. Luckily, we had the original Hudson Hornet manual. Now this is a 54, this is a 52, but it helped me in every way I could imagine to get this thing running. You can see the power wire for the starter is black, the ground is red. So it's positive ground. And in this case, the ignition system is gonna work off the distributor grounding the positive side of the coil versus what we're used to, which is the negative side of the coil.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got power on the positive side. So it took me a little while to grasp that, and I finally got it all running on our engine run stand. We had to mock it up, and so I had to modify some stuff here to make this work because it's so long. But here we are, it's working. We're not gonna worry about the cooling system yet because we're gonna make sure this engine runs and has no leaks. We'll install the cooling system on the car and then burp it and get it idling and all that good stuff. And Wade's gonna come help us do that. So what I got here is I got a 12-volt jump box on my starter solenoid. I've bypassed the circuit on the engine run stand because it is 12 volts. I don't want to fry anything. And so what I'm gonna do is hook up my alligator clip, power up the coil, go into the negative side. I've got my positive here. I'm gonna go to the ground strap on the starter solenoid. Okay, this is carburetor, so we're gonna squirt some fuel in there. And let's see what happens. There you go.
The reason he goes ahead and hits the throttle a couple of times, you've got accelerator pumps on the older carburetors. You want to squirt a little bit of fuel in. The new systems that are fuel injected, you don't have that. So with the older cars, it's real important. You pump the throttle a few times, and those accelerator pumps, what they do is they'll shoot fuel into the carburetors, and that allows you to start it.
Yep, very cool. And here we have a thermostatic choke. If you guys notice, we have little tubes that come up from the exhaust manifold that actually transfers heat up to the thermostatic choke, allowing them to see the heat, and then they actually open up completely.
And what causes that to operate it is you've got some springs in there, so as the temperature gets hot, it causes those springs to go ahead and change. And as it does it, you'll have your choke will start out closed, and then the choke begins to open up as the heat goes into the carburetor.
Very cool.
Very cool system.
Now what we've done here is we know the engine runs, we know we have no oil leaks, we got 50 PSI oil pressure. Now what we can do is go ahead and remove it from the engine stand, make sure we torque down our flywheel bolts and get it ready, because the torque converter is actually a 2-piece torque converter. There's a gasket in the middle of it, and there's 30 bolts that hold the torque converter's 2 halves together. So we want to make sure to do that right so we have no leaks. So now we'll go ahead and remove it from the engine stand and get it ready to put in the engine bay.
Sounds like a plan. Looking forward to it.
I've been in New Orleans.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Sam's Garage, where we continue to work on the Hudson Hornet and Buick Skylark projects.